As we walk down the halls of Park Hill, most of us don't stop to remember those who walked before us. We don't know their stories or the lives they led, but in some cases, like that of Hope Corwin, we have a lot to learn from them. Hope was part of the class of 2012, and that may not sound like a huge accomplishment to you and me, but to Hope, it was something worth fighting for and even living for.
Tenacious, serious, but she had such a sweet, silly side. She wanted above all else to be a high school graduate, and she did everything in her power to make sure she achieved that. And that determination really told me everything about her. She was a quietly determined, wonderful kid.
But not only was Hope a fighter in the classroom, she was fighting for her life. Diagnosed as a freshman, Hope battled rhabdomyosarcoma, a rare type of cancer that affects the muscles and their connections to bone. Dr. Neville was Hope's main doctor at Children's Mercy, and the two were very close.
Hope, her name embodies what she was. She was smart and funny and resilient, and I think in knowing her, she'd get good grades, but she was well liked, and she faced adversity very bravely. She made everyone around her happy, and everyone admired her. And I think for her, it was one of her greatest accomplishments, because despite everything, she still finished school. All the things we take for granted, I don't want to go to school, I don't want to go to work, all of a sudden when you don't have it, you appreciate it. And I think it was a triumph for her.
Helping Hope get better was no small task.
It was tough. It was something not to take lightly. It was coming to the hospital all of the time. The best way I can describe it is it's pretty relentless. And then when the tumor comes back, you have more, just as strong or even stronger. And then when the tumor comes back, you have treatment that's less proven. And she just faced it all with a sense of humor, but a sense of reality of what it was. Treatment would never stop Hope. It would never stop her from doing the things she was doing. It was just part of her life, and she dealt with it with bravery and grace, even until the end.
This grace and bravery was noticed by many. Mrs. Gross had Hope in classes of freshmen and kept in touch throughout high school and helped Hope through her rough treatment. She learned as much from Hope as Hope did from her.
Oh, well, that's going to be tough. She taught me about grace. She taught me that if she can accept her mortality at a young age, that I've got no worries. I will always remember that. That's what she taught me. Grace.
This attitude towards death affected many people, including Hope's younger sister Zoe, who's a freshman this year.
I found out that it was going to happen before it actually did. Not as in advance as I wanted it to be, but I think I adapted pretty well because I knew it was happening. I didn't prepare very well. Not gonna lie, I cried at night because I didn't want it to happen, and we didn't know exactly when it was gonna happen, but we just acted like it wasn't gonna happen.
Death wasn't something that Hope feared, but something she took in stride.
I know a lot of people my age and older who didn't face this with the gracefulness that she did, and she never stopped being Hope. She never, despite all of the terrible parts of this, she never stopped being Hope. She never stopped cracking a joke or sending you something funny or doing crafts. And to have all this and have that Hope Summit, where she wanted to help other young women in science and to still have good grades and still send, we did a thing for a while where she and her dad and I exchanged jokes of the day. Who does that when you're facing adversity and death? And I think that's what I'll always remember about her and what I want to be carried forward for her, because we all have it in us. And she just exemplified, I think, what's the better part of all of us.
While receiving treatment, Hope understood that her chances weren't looking great, but that didn't stop her.
When you come to that team, we don't think we have cure to offer. In fact, it's not for cure, it's to try and buy time and quality. And so imagine, it goes back to how great I think she was and her spirit is, that we have some very honest conversations that I hope I can get you more time and graduating high school and all those things that we all take for granted, but I can't fix this.
Hope Corwin was a role model to her friends and family, and she set a great example for everyone, whether they knew her or not. There wasn't anyone who didn't like her.
As a patient, Hope was a handful in a good way. She had a sense of humor, but she was also someone you could talk to. So often when you're my age, people think you can't talk to them when they're your guys' age, but it wasn't like that at all. And she would want things explained, but rightfully so. And she would keep me on my toes, but in a good way. And I think the message for you guys is, I think often when you're your age, people don't want you to ask questions, and you have a right when it's your body to ask questions. And she did it very respectfully and gracefully, but she wanted to know. And I just honor that.
Everything, I want them to know that it didn't matter what she was going through. And she was going through things that hopefully none of our children ever have to go through. But she was going through them, and she had a singular determination to be a scholar. And if you can put aside the minor things, even though they seem major, if you can put them aside and be as successful at academics as she can, wow, that's amazing. Know that your focus is here just like Hope's focus was here.
We definitely try to live life to the fullest. We're trying not to be very negative, like this is the worst day ever, because it's not.
She created lasting memories with everyone she met. Mrs. Gross and Zoe shared theirs with me.
As a young woman in her last couple of years, it was fun talking to her about I Love Lucy. She loved that show, and she was just fun. It was fun laughing with her.
Yeah, we were pretty close. Like, compared to other siblings, I'd say we were really close. I remember coming home from school, and she's sitting on the couch watching I Love Lucy, and we'd sit there for hours watching it together.
Walk for Hope is an event planned and run by Sophomore Exec Council with the help of Freshman Exec. It raises money in Hope's name to be donated to Children's Mercy Hospital for research on childhood cancer.
We need you to fight for research for childhood cancer, because right now it's just an afterthought of adult cancer.
It's been a couple years now, and a lot of people don't remember her, but she really wanted this to be raising money to help other people at Children's Mercy. It's not all about her now, because that's in the past. So we're looking forward into helping Children's Mercy with patients who can get better and will, and with the research that will help.
Walk for Hope will take place this Sunday, April 27th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the track. Get your friends together and help keep Hope's memory and her dream alive.
Take on adversity with grace, and don't forget the people like Hope who came before you. It's very easy to forget people when they move away or when they pass away, but the things we need to carry are the wonderful parts of their spirit. So be brave, don't give up, and take the ugly things that life hands you with resilience and gracefulness.
Reporting for Trojan TV News, I'm Jordan Elder. Thank you for watching.
She was a handful to take care of, but it made my life better.